When severe weather strikes, every second counts. NBC10's First Alert Weather is just that. We've invested in the latest technology, and we have a team of experienced meteorologists ready to tell you what you need to know before it happens. We're first on TV, first on mobile and the web, first on the ground and in the air. We are First Alert. And now for our NBC10 First Alert Special Report, Spring into Action.
Hello, and welcome to NBC10 First Alert Weather.
It's your introduction to the new technologies here at NBC10 that help us bring you the most accurate and the most detailed forecast.
And one of those features, well, I'm about to step inside it. NBC10 First Alert Weather serves more than 5 million people in our area, but you don't want their forecast, you want yours.
That's why NBC10 is putting a microscope on the weather where you live. This isn't just a regional forecast, this is county by county weather, town by town, even down to the street where you live.
Now it starts with the core, a database of maps, satellite images, temperatures, and entire weather service.
The core services a trio of supercomputers, so 3 meteorologists can work at once to detect and track a storm, pinpoint which neighborhood it hits first, count the lightning strikes immediately, and measure the size of the hail right now.
Pair that with almost 1,000 live cameras, plus a radar that can tell exactly where the rain has switched to snow.
And of course, 5 meteorologists. NBC10 First Alert Weather has you covered 24 hours a day.
Well, here we are at our new weather home base where we can give you neighborhood weather more clearly than ever before. We can see outside, live all the time. And then, of course, check the radars, see if the rain is moving past and if the roads are dry. Hundreds of cameras across the area and weather data more bold than ever before.
NBC10 First Alert Weather also accesses close to 1,000 live cameras to show you the weather where you live. It's where we see the rain and snow before you do.
Look at that snow coming down sideways.
And monitor flooding at street level.
Definitely slow down and be careful out there.
From the southern tip of Delaware up through Philadelphia and its suburbs, farther west toward Reading, through the Lehigh Valley and the entire state of New Jersey. Ocean City, no problem, 12 cameras. The Trenton area, 36. Philadelphia and its surrounding counties, 253 cameras, all watching the roads for bad weather. We go there so you don't have to.
I'm Kristen Stewart in Skyforce 10. When weather strikes, sometimes the best vantage point is from the air. Like when we're talking about flooding, we can show you from the air, like this video where a creek is supposed to be and where the water started rushing and flooding this building. This building flooded in August of 2011. This building is actually supposed to extend about 10 feet, but the floodwaters covered it. Kristen Stewart, NBC10 News.
Skyforce 10 has the most powerful HD helicopter camera in the industry, plus the telestrator you just saw. Now let's go to NBC10 meteorologist Bill Henley with some of the tools we're using in the heart of the Weather Center.
The HotCam utilizes the latest technology to put me on TV seconds after detecting bad weather and deciding to bring you a live weather alert. Here's how we determine when to sound the alarm in your neighborhood. Tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, flooding rains, and yes, even hurricanes all impact the tri-state area. That's why NBC10 First Alert Weather is constantly monitoring atmospheric conditions to make sure you hear about it here first. An on-duty meteorologist is here 365 days a year. And when one of us detects conditions in the atmosphere that could potentially lead to the formation of damaging or life-threatening weather, we activate a crawl at the bottom of your TV screen. This is where you will find information of what to expect and actions to take. If severe weather is imminent or occurring, we'll make the call to go live on the HotCam. Okay, we need to go live. Tracking the storm in real time, showing you where it is going and how bad it will be. The latest and most updated information to keep you out of harm's way. Plus, follow me on Twitter at Bill Henley USA as I instantly tweet all weather watches and warnings for our area. It's just one more way. NBC10 First Alert Weather puts you first.
And of course, the biggest weather story of the last 12 months was Hurricane Sandy. NBC10 was the first local news organization to bring you continuous coverage. And our efforts are even helping to change the way the National Hurricane Center warned you about hurricanes and tropical storms. You see, during Sandy, forecasters of the National Hurricane Center stopped issuing hurricane watches and warnings as the storm lost its tropical characteristics and became a hybrid storm. But I was one of several longtime meteorologists who argued that they should continue to issue hurricane watches and warnings, even when storms are no longer technically hurricanes or tropical storms. And the National Hurricane Center is now adopting that policy. Hurricanes aren't the only threat we face, though. NBC10 tracks tornadoes and other severe storms that pop up much more quickly. Do we really get tornadoes in this area? Yes, but not many. And because they're rare, we have very little experience being prepared to deal with them and to know what to do. Most of the tornadoes that do occur around here are far from the monsters we've seen hit the Midwestern plains. But there have been some that cause severe damage and even deaths. In the past 18 years that I've been in Philadelphia, I've seen a lot. Now, one of the worst tornadoes in modern history hit Limerick, Montgomery County, in July 1994. It was a strong EF3 on the scale up to 5, and it leveled a new housing development. There were 3 deaths, 25 injuries, and $5 million damage. Another EF3 hit Lyons, Berks County in May 1998. Even though it ripped right through the town, no one died. Just about everyone was watching NBC10 at the time, since it was the NBA Finals and supposed to be Michael Jordan's last game. Now, the tornado warning came out at 8:37, and we put it on the air at 8:38. And I should know because I was there. The warning was repeated at 8:50, saying the tornado was on the ground and headed for Lyons, which we then relayed in a crawl to not interrupt the game. Later surveys showed that many people took cover because they were watching NBC10 and saw their town was in the path. That extra bit of information probably saved lives. Tornado chances are higher in western parts of our area than toward the shore, but every county has seen at least one tornado since 1950. No one and no area is immune. Now, it doesn't have to be a tornado to cause a lot of damage. Last June, a line of storms called a derecho caused widespread damage in Delaware and near the Jersey Shore. That line actually started near Chicago around noon and left a path of destruction all the way to the shore by midnight.
Coming up on the NBC10 First Alert Weather Special.
Tiny lenses across our region are watching the weather where you live. Hi, I'm Brittany Shipp, and coming up, we'll take a closer look at the NBC10 Skycam Network and how it's working for you.
I'm Christine Medella in Skyforce 10. We know which neighborhoods are prone to flooding, and we keep an eye on them from the sky. I'll show you some of those areas susceptible to storm damage.
And I'm Vince Latanzio with how you can be the first to know how the weather is changing in your neighborhood. That's just ahead.
You're watching the heart of a storm transform into the calm after the storm. It's a time-lapse look at the NBC10 Skycam Network overlooking Philadelphia.
Welcome back to NBC10 First Alert Weather. We've placed cameras like the one you just saw all across our region.
That's right, 24 hours a day, our Skycam Network is watching the weather just like we are. NBC10 meteorologist Brittany Shipp shows us how they all work.
No matter where you live, from the Pocono Mountains down to the Jersey Shore, the NBC10 First Alert Sky Camera Network is looking out for you.
Reaching beyond the studio.
Starting to see those clouds increase across the Philadelphia area.
Watching severe weather where you live with hundreds of cameras across all 3 states.
Across the Delaware River from the Camden waterfront with this camera, we have you covered.
Our network shows you every type of weather in every single county.
So we have a solid area of snow moving in.
These cameras give us our first look at storms moving into your neighborhood. At the Pocono Mountains, we have more than a dozen different camera angles. Even from high above Center City, At the Lowe's Hotel, tiny lenses are looking over your region.
Planning on catching a game in South Philly? We have a camera here too. With a 360-degree view, we can show you all 3 stadiums so you know what to expect before you head out the door.
Back at the studio, we constantly check the network to bring you the most accurate information, even seconds before going on air.
Every angle in the NBC10 First Alert Skycam Network is working to bring you what's happening now and what you can expect next.
Thanks, Brittany. Now, when you've been forecasting weather in the Philadelphia region as long as NBC10 has, you know where the storm hotspots are. I'm talking about the places that are prone to icing, experience wind damage, and repeatedly flood. Nothing gets us to those hotspots faster than Skyforce 10.
I'm Kristen Stewart in Skyforce 10. We know which areas are prone to flooding and we constantly monitor them. Take a look. This is in Manayunk right now in April and it's all dry. Everything is moving along quite nicely. But look at this video. This is Manayunk flooding from May 16th of 2012. You can see just how high the water is. Plus, Admiral Wilson Boulevard is also prone to flooding. This is flooding from December 22nd of last year. Take a look at Rancocas Creek in Lumberton, New Jersey. It's calm now, but it does have the potential to overflow its banks. This is Rancocas Creek. We saw it on March 31st of 2010 when floodwaters rose quickly. Kristen Medella, NBC10 News.
I'm NBC10's Vince Latanzio. The NBC10 First Alert Weather Team isn't complete without you at home, our NBC10 Insiders, those who are experiencing the weather as it's happening in thousands of neighborhoods across the region. When you share what you're seeing, you help shape our coverage on TV and on NBC10.com. Here's how to be an NBC10 Insider. You can upload your photos and videos directly through NBC10.com. Just look for the Send Pics link at the top of any of our web pages. Choose the photo from your computer and don't forget to leave an email or number so we can contact you. When you're done, then hit Submit. In minutes, we'll be able to see what you captured and put it on TV. You can also share photos through our smartphone and tablet apps. And your pictures actually help us decide where to send our reporters and photojournalists.
Get the hell in the house!
I even visited one NBC10 viewer after he caught a tornado forming on camera in his Camden County backyard. NBC10 insiders often share severe weather as it's happening outside their windows. Some in South Jersey sent in some amazing shots from during and after last year's powerful derecho. From lightning strikes to storm damage and more, see it, shoot it, and share it with NBC10. And of course, your first priority is your own safety in every weather situation. Now, being an NBC10 insider also means you want to have access to everything NBC10 knows as soon as we know it. And you can do that through the NBC10 First Alert weather app. You have access to the same advanced weather forecasting technology the NBC10 First Alert weather team uses right in the palm of your hand. With the NBC10 First Alert weather app, you control the NBC10 First Alert radar. See where storms are forming, where they're going, and when they will roll over your street, from high in the sky or down at street level. The NBC10 First Alert weather app tracks the storm's direction and predicts where it will wind up next. And you'll never get caught off guard when severe weather is on the way. You'll be alerted as soon as the National Weather Service issues watches and warnings, and get instructions about how to stay safe. Detailed 10-day forecasts will let you know first how the weather will be hour by hour.
This morning, the temperatures are cooled down.
Plus, watch complete video forecasts from the NBC10 First Alert weather team. It's all free when you download the NBC10 First Alert weather app now.
Still to come on NBC10's First Alert Weather Special.
I'm NBC10 meteorologist Michelle Grossman. When severe weather hits, my family has a plan. I'll help you with yours.
I'm Kristen Medella in Skyforce 10. The Jersey Shore is working hard to rebuild. I'll take you to one of your favorite shore towns to show you how it really looks months after Superstorm Sandy.
We didn't have much snow this winter, so does that mean we'll have a mild summer? My long-term forecast is still to come. When severe weather is happening, NBC10's team of 5 meteorologists are right here.
And that got NBC10's Michelle Grossman to thinking about how to protect her family at home.
You count on me to warn you against severe weather, but I'm not just a meteorologist. I'm a wife, also a mother, and my family relies on me to keep them safe from storms. part of your emergency plan, you want to make sure you pinpoint an emergency contact. Could either be a family member or a friend. And a really good tip, grab your cell phone, list that contact as ICE in case of emergency. Have your family members do the same thing. And emergency workers are actually trained to look for that in your phone. You want to build an emergency kit for your family. Think of it as camping indoors, sustaining your family for an entire week. First things first, bottled water, also food, high energy protein packed food like peanut butter, a flashlight just in case that power goes out, and the biggest tip of all, everything we always forget, batteries. You also have to think about your landscaping. Now these stones may be heavy enough, but those little tiny pebbles get picked up in the wind, cause damage to your siding, could also break your windows. And one final tip, where do we go when there's a storm?
The basement.
That's right, the basement. You want to go to the lowest level of your house, and if you can't go to the basement, maybe you don't have one, you can go to the closet, maybe a bathroom, and every member must know that, right? That's good. All right, good job. Got that?
A fallen tree crushes your porch, a flooded first floor. You've got major storm damage. And believe it or not, that's the first time most people read their homeowner's policy. Big mistake.
What policyholders fail to realize is that insurance policies change every year. Insurance companies change language, change terms and conditions, change restrictions, limitations, exclusions. And if you don't keep up with it, you can find yourself on the short end of the stick in the event of a catastrophe.
Insurance adjuster Stephen Figlin says talk with your agent about your homeowner's policy now. Even one that covers a broad range won't cover everything. And just knowing the dollar amount of coverage isn't enough when it comes to putting your house back together. Ask your agent about limitations and exclusions. The big three weather-related damages are wind, water, and flooding. A typical homeowner's policy will cover most wind and water damage, but be warned.
Homeowners insurance policy does not cover flood, ever.
You can buy a separate flood insurance policy, and just because you haven't had a flood in the past doesn't mean you won't in the future. A new housing development or building in your area can change your risk.
You can learn if your property is at risk by logging on to NBC10.com and searching Flood Smart. There you can type in your address and see your flood risk and what coverage might cost. Even when you're covered, be prepared to pay. Homeowners Insurance pays for lifting and cutting up fallen trees that damage your property, but may limit the cost of hauling it away, which can be thousands of dollars. And when it comes to storing your insurance information, be careful.
Safes are safe unless something falls on them, unless they get superheated, unless they flood.
A home safe is good for things like jewelry, but paper documents and external hard drives may incinerate or melt if the inside of the safe gets too hot during a fire. Now let's go back up in the air with one of our most powerful weather tools, Skyforce 10.
I'm Christine Medella in Skyforce 10 flying over Seaside Heights. Now, after Superstorm Sandy, the images from the air really illustrated the damage down below. Take a look at this video from Seaside Heights. You can see the water rushing ashore, and it flooded the well-known boardwalk, damaging businesses and the rides. Once the floodwaters receded, they left behind damage and debris. But Seaside Heights, as well as all the shore towns, have worked hard to rebuild. Here's a look at Seaside Heights now. 6 months later, the debris is gone, and there's the Ferris wheel. The amusement park is still not up and running, but reconstruction is underway. Christine Medella, NBC10 News.
Next on NBC10 First Alert Weather Special.
Reading the future. That's what I'm doing next as I show you what the rest of your spring will look like. And all summer long as well when NBC10 First Alert Weather continues. As we go further into spring and into summer, we always look at weather patterns happening around the country to see what we can expect locally. Let's start with the Pacific Ocean. We look at the Pacific Ocean water temperatures to tell you what weather we can expect based on temperatures, which then affect upper air currents. So in the Pacific Ocean right now, we are in a phase called neutral or average water temperatures. We have El Nino and La Nina, which correspond to warmer than average or colder than average temperatures. But right now we are right around average in the Pacific Ocean, and this is expected to continue as we go into the rest of spring and also into summer. So this water temperature scenario does affect the air in the upper atmosphere, and that in return will be giving a majority of the country above average temperatures for spring and again as we go into summer. So locally we can expect above average temperatures for the rest of spring and into summer. What does that mean as far as extreme weather though? As far as heat waves are concerned, locally, very likely. We usually see this every summer, a few heat waves at least. Also severe thunderstorms with damaging winds and also flooding. That is likely as well through the area. Then we talk about hurricanes. We had Hurricane Irene followed by Hurricane Sandy. So of course hurricanes are possible, but other things are more likely than others. And so far, this is the outlook as we continue spring and go into summer.
Consider the magnitude of the weather events we've experienced in just the last 12 months. Hurricanes, tornadoes, derechos, and flooding.
We've had it all. There's more to come, and NBC 10 First Alert Weather has you covered.
And now, for our team of 5 meteorologists and all of us at NBC 10.
Stay safe by staying with us and NBC 10 First Alert Weather.